Welcome to Surviving the Dream with your hosts, Casey Arnold
and David Conley.
We're here to talk to people who seem to have their dream job and find out, what did it take? Is it what they imagined? Is it worth it? How do they do it?
Join us as we uncover the secrets of surviving the dream. Hello, Casey.
Hello, Dave.
Oh, surviving the dream for another week. Well, I've got an excellent guest for you today. I say excellent. I mean, I'll wait till you've met him.
I'm looking forward to it so far.
Well, I have met him before, so I'm not so much. But he's from the same town as me in England. After that, we met in New York, actually, where he still lives. But occasionally he comes to Los Angeles. He's here right now in a play called Waiting for Godot.
We say Godot here.
Do you? Oh, you're so posh in America.
It's Godot. That's the American way to say this.
Oh, okay. So the guest has already arrived then, because to correct me. All right, Asif Mandvi.
It's elevator. It's escalator.
It's aluminium.
Just write these things down. It's aluminum. Yeah. Just write these things down. Actually, you've been in the country now for more than a decade.
20 years. I used to have these come to Jesus moments with Asif, because he used to tell me how it is in America. I remember ringing him up going, I don't understand what these producers want. And he goes, welcome to America.
Right.
Do you feel like you know what they're looking for in America now? Because it seems like things are working out pretty well for you.
Well, remember you used to say rubber for eraser for a long time.
Yeah.
And then you'd bring it up in producer meetings.
Yeah.
You'd be taking notes and you said, do you have a rubber?
Yeah, do you have a rubber?
And often your producer meetings did not go so well.
No.
Now, I think that's good looking out, Aasif. I think you're a good friend, and Dave should appreciate that.
I was watching. I was like, it's eraser in this country.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
I used to have to take him everywhere with me just to translate. It was. Now, Asif, you've not had a bad career. I mean, obviously the highlight was working.
Thank you.
working with me on the understudy, but other than that, you've done some pretty good stuff.
Oh, Jesus, that's right. We made a movie, didn't we?
Oh, thanks for remembering.
Yeah. I mean, he's had some pretty stellar projects since then.
Well, nothing really topped it, though, did it? I mean, did it?
I mean, it's not like anyone would remember The Daily Show or The Sopranos or any of the other myriad amazing things. It's true. The understudy is at the top.
Do you find that people stop you in the street?
I do find that the understudy is at the top of my list in terms of having directors that didn't really say anything. And didn't, like, you know what I mean? Like, actors are always complaining the director's really interfering with that performance. One thing I can say about David and Hannah is that they never interfered or really paid attention to anybody's performance.
So an actor's dream, just free reign to just be you.
So in that way, it was top notch.
Yeah.
Marin Ireland and myself and Richard Kahn, we basically just got to do well. Often Hannah would be sitting behind the camera, and David would be having a sandwich.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so wait, I want to go back to this. Okay, so you guys know each other from working on a movie together. Everyone obviously knows you.
Actually, no. Well, actually, we know each other because we actually met. You and Hannah were trying to make a movie called Wedding Town.
Correct. That didn't get made.
It didn't get made, and that was the movie that we actually met.
Yeah.
On when you were developing that script.
Yeah.
And then nobody cares about this. Anyway, then.
I care. By the way, for anyone listening, Hannah is David's wife, and they also work together.
Yeah. Sorry, they work together, or they used to work together.
Thanks for bringing up all my failures in 1 minute.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Sure, people on this podcast already are going like, so. We're talking about a movie that never happened and people that we don't know.
It was the best movie that they've never seen.
Look how things rebound. Now it's turned into like a lifelong friendship.
Right. So that's now, one of us died a long time ago. But
do you want to talk about the time I scored a known goal at school or something like that? I mean, let's just talk about that.
Any bullying stories you want to share that we can pile on top, Dave?
Then Dave invited me to I was living in LA for a while, and Dave invited me to a fitness thing that you used to go to.
I was there this morning.
Oh my God, you're part of the boot camp cult too?
So the boot camp, and basically the boot camp, and I'm embarrassed to say this because the boot camp is just a bunch of middle-aged ladies and Dave.
Oh, that's why he loves it so much.
And so Dave is kind of a star there because, it's just a lot of middle-aged ladies. And they play soccer.
Yeah.
And Dave is, with his English blood, he's very good at soccer.
It's in our DNA.
And I will give you this. You can run very, very fast. Dave runs he runs very fast. But the top half of his body doesn't move when he runs.
You don't want people to know where you're going because you're playing soccer.
Imagine his arms and his chest and his head don't move at all. They're completely still. And the legs just go. And he runs so he wins every race because everyone else just stops and laughs because they can't believe what they're seeing. I won again.
That's your technique. Smart.
My whole sporting career has been based on people just stopping and laughing as I get away. He scored. But
don't limit it to your sporting career. It might be your entire life.
People can't believe that it's a human. They're just that feels like human bodies should not be they don't work that way. I don't understand how that's happening. How is there literally no movement at the top from the waist up? There's not even a facial expression.
No, don't give anything away. That's how we're taught in England. Don't give anything away.
Oh my God. Okay, wait. This is fun, but I want to get us on track for a minute here.
Get us on track, please.
Surviving the dream. Okay. Aasif, what would you say the dream is for you? What is your dream? And are you living it?
Oh my God. Is that what this is about? Okay. All right. Hold on. Now, wait, let me see. So I don't even know how to answer that question. What is the dream? The dream changes, depending on where you are in life and how you go, in terms of, if we're talking about career, I thought, the dream was, when I was younger, I guess it was just to sort of work, and just to get anything done, and, you always have that fantasy of one day I'll win an Oscar or, whatever that is, an Emmy or something. And then you sort of work and you get stuff and you do things and you realize as I've gotten older and as I've, now have a family and a child, I feel like the dream now for me is to be able to work and create and do things that I feel excited about and passionate about and feel like I kind of want to put in the world. It's like it's like if I could just do things that I work on projects that I love and I feel passionate about and make a living and do that and work with people that I like working with, like going to work with every day. And that becomes the dream. You know what I mean? That I think that's the dream. It's like, and along the way, I've found it's all short-term goals. Yeah. It's like you have the long, I want to, whatever. But the reality is it's like, I just want to get this thing. I want to get this movie I'm trying to get made, or this play that I want to write, or this job that it's just short-term goals along the way that, and then you sort of turn around and look back and go, oh, look, I did all that stuff, but half of the stuff you think you want, you sometimes realize you don't want anyway. And you know, like it's kind of like you go, oh, I want that thing, and it's like it becomes less important,
or it's like not what you thought it would be. Like the reality is different than what you imagined it to be.
Nothing is what you thought it would be. The reality is always different than what you thought it would be.
When you were in Bradford growing up, what did you think you wanted to be?
I just wanted to be an actor, right?
All right.
I just wanted to do, and I didn't know any, that's going all the way back, right, to when I was like a child. You just say, I want to be an actor, as opposed to trying to be a doctor or an engineer that my parents dreamt. You know what I mean? I just, the dream was just to be able to do this in any capacity at all.
I mean, but that must have been quite strange, right? Because your father, I know your father, he had a corner shop in Bradford, right?
Yeah.
Called Aasif's, because he must have liked you. And did he?
What kind of a shop was it?
He didn't like the shop, and he didn't like me. So there you go.
There you go. Two for two. So, well, in England, you have these little corner shops where you just buy.
It's like the way in America you call them, as a bodega or something.
Oh, like a bodega. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for translating. You're still doing it.
Yeah.
They sell everything from candy to cigarettes to pornography to you just basic sort of it's basically cigs and sweets and porn.
And your newspaper, you get the Sun and the Daily Mirror. Yeah,
so not a creative family. So for you to say I'm going to be an actor is like a little bit of a stretch in your family, or were they supportive?
Oh yeah, it was like saying I want to be a grapefruit. Like it was like my parents were just
you
like,
wanted to be a grapefruit.
Right. My parents were just like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like you can't be a grapefruit, whatever.
Yeah.
Is that derogatory? I shouldn't say that maybe.
I don't want to get you cancelled for this.
I wanted to be.
As grapefruits are writing in as we speak, going, I can't believe that he's saying he wanted to be.
The oranges are feeling left out.
Yeah, maybe pineapple is funny. I wanted to be a pineapple. It's like I wanted to be a pineapple. You tell me.
I get. I understand that.
Yeah. Pineapple is funny because it has pine and apple. It's a funnier word.
It's a funnier shape.
Yeah, it's a funnier shape, but the image is funny. It's like I wanted to be a pineapple.
Right.
There you go.
Yeah.
At what point did they get? What point did they get with the plan? Because from the outside, looking at your career, I feel like, so, you're like, oh my God, you're on the Daily Show. What with Jon Stewart, the peak of it, that's got to be a dream. Mm-hmm, and all the other cool, so many points, you'd be like, this is the dream. Oh no, this is the dream. Oh wait, this is the dream. Oh fuck, I'm making an actual living and doing all of this. It's all the dream.
Well, it was all the dream. Everything was the dream when it was before it happens, right? It's all the dream.
And while you're doing it, are you able to appreciate that it's your dream coming too?
Well, not always, because sometimes the dream is not what you thought. Like the Daily Show is a perfect example of a dream job that I had no idea. I had not planned for it. It wasn't on my list, of things like I wanted to be an actor. Okay. Did that. I got to New York. I got to America. My family moved from England so I started taking acting classes when I was a kid. And that was a dream, just to be able to go on Wednesday nights to this little place in Brig House and be part of this children's theater. That was a dream. Then we came to America and I was doing plays in high school and stuff. And then I got a job. I got a scholarship to the University of South Florida to study theater. That was the dream in that moment, right? Mm-hmm. Then I got a job at the Disney MGM Studios, working with really funny improvisational comedians and people doing street theater, doing comedy. That was the dream, I was working I was professional working, making money as an actor, had my own apartment, living in Orlando, Florida. Then coming to New York, getting my first sort of off-Broadway show. That was the dream, right? And then writing my own one-man play, one-man show, and getting it produced by Win Handman at the American Place Theater and winning OBIE Awards. That was the dream, you know? So it's all, and then, that, and then getting work as an actor, getting every role in a movie or something that led me to the next thing, working with Ed Zwick, working with Ismail Merchant and Merchant Ivory. I did the lead in the Mystic Masur. That was a huge dream because I was working with these legendary filmmakers on this film where I was starring in it, right?
Yeah.
So here I am, this actor who's unknown. Nobody knows who I am. I've done this one-man show. It's gotten incredible acclaim. The New York Times gave it a rave review. This is back in 1998, right? There were no South Asian faces out there doing what I was doing at that time, or very few, maybe 4, and now there's 12. So we've come a long way.
Wow. Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Yeah. So
double digits, you're killing it.
Exactly. Yeah.
You basically own Hollywood now, aren't you?
Yeah.
So do you feel like you're just always coming up with a new dream every day, or it's just?
Well, it's always the next thing is the dream, because this business is so fickle and unbelievable. It's unbelievable that you get anywhere, right. It's so everything, every hurdle, every next thing is the dream. That's the dream. I did that movie, Mystic Masur, with Ismail Merchant and Merchant Ivory. I thought, this is going to turn me into a movie star, right? And I'm going to go to LA and nobody saw the movie. It was a small movie. It played at a theater in Santa Monica and, Angelica in New York. And it was basically went from there to video. And so, okay. But, and then I got, sometime later, I got The Daily Show. The Daily Show wasn't even on my radar. In fact, I turned down the audition initially because I was, not having a great day. I was. This is all in my book, by the way. But I just got this letter from my ex-girlfriend who said she was getting engaged. I had found out that my ex-girlfriend had gotten engaged, and I was writing her a letter. And I don't know why. I just thought I needed to write her a letter.
Well done, you. Congratulations.
Congratulations. Sorry,
Yeah. Got a really handsome boyfriend.
So they called me for this audition. I turned it down. They said, well, if you don't go today, you can't go. So I said, all right, I'll just be there. What time are they auditioning till? And they said 3:00. I said, I'll be there at 2:45. and so they said, all right. So I just really walked down, and then it was crazy. I got this job, and initially it was just a one-time gig on The Daily Show, but then John really liked me and just kept calling me back and having me come in. And then eventually they offered me a contract, and I didn't even know that was going to be such a seminal thing for me, because I watched The Daily Show, but I never realized where that was going to take me at the time. So that was, it sort of plugged into the dream, but didn't, I always knew I wanted to be working, and I wanted to be successful, and I wanted to, whatever that meant, whether it was, so, there's an old adage of you sort of set the horizon, and then the ship just kind of goes, and then the waves and the storm, and then you spend your whole life is just navigating the terrain, towards a horizon that you might get to, or it might change at some point, depending on how you're doing. So
are you saying it's the journey then, more than the the destination?
It's not. Every little thing has been a dream. Everything has been in some smaller or larger capacity, and often the thing, you get the thing, and then you think, oh, well, this is not what I thought it was going to be, you know, but it offers something else. It opens up a new thing. Like when I got The Daily Show, I was so excited when they offered me a contract and said, okay, you know, I was like, this is going to be amazing. But, you know, I spent the first couple of years of The Daily Show just going like, what the fuck am I doing here? Like, I don't know what I'm doing.
You weren't alone, Aasif. Yeah, there was many people saying that.
But, you know, it was
what part of it was making you feel that way? Was it like, how am I getting this good fortune? Or like, what are they seeing?
No, I just thought I was completely not qualified to be on that show. Like I was working with people who I felt were way funnier and more talented than me. And I hadn't done anything like this. I didn't come from a pedigree of doing stand-up or you know, any or even comedy in that way. I'd done more sort of serious theater, you know. But I do think that like there's something about being an immigrant kid. What the hell's happening, Dave?
Sorry, my cat is just.
Are you getting out of?
Yeah, destroyed our house. Yeah.
I'm sorry to the listeners. I told Dave, don't get out of the bath. Stay in the bath.
I'm sorry. I was getting cold.
You're in the bath now. Yeah. Don't get out.
Yeah.
So just make a lot of disruption.
Yeah.
Honestly, I can't imagine you not doing something not comedic. Like, is that is your family funny? Because you are very naturally funny. Did you not know that before The Daily Show?
No, I did. I was in a sketch comedy group, and you know, and I was doing. I always did comedy and drama. Like I've always been sort of like a person, you know. And actually, the truth is that like a lot of the TV stuff I got early on was not funny. It was, you know, I was getting all these like dramatic roles on Law and Order and you know, all these TV cop shows that were shooting in New York at the time, and. So a lot of it was just dramatic stuff. And when I did The Siege with Denzel Washington, it was a dramatic role. So I never thought of myself as a comedian. I always was an actor who did comedy and who could, you know, and I still don't think of myself as a quote unquote comedian. Like I'm not like a stand-up, you know, I'm not like a person whose DNA is, But
you've done stand-up though, haven't you? I mean,
I have done stand-up.
Yeah, because I've done stand-up with you. Yeah,
yeah, but it was never that was the one thing I did, which I've always had a strange relationship with stand-up, which is that like I started doing it after The Daily Show, really, because they would pay me to go out and do it. So I could write enough sort of just material and jokes and stuff, and maybe get some help from other people to make them a little funnier or whatever, and then I could. And I'm a natural performer, so I could get up and sell it, you know? But it never felt like it was where I lived. It wasn't my home base. Like for some people, I think it's like, oh, that's what I do. I do stand-up, you know? Yeah. I always was much more mercurial as a person, and so I always want to play characters. I'm much more comfortable playing characters. And even with my one-man show, which is funny and sad and tragic and dramatic and, you know, all that. It is, I'm playing characters. I'm going from one character to another. There's more sort of in the Leguizamo vein so even now, as we're talking, I'm doing Waiting for Godot here at the Geffen Playhouse in LA with Rainn Wilson. And he and I are similar because I think we're both known for comedy, but we're also dramatic actors. And Dave, you've seen the show, so
I've seen it.
I've seen it too. Yeah, we were talking about it.
Oh, you've seen it as well.
Yeah. Great. It was. I had never seen Waiting for Godot before, and because you guys were in it, I expected it to be a comedy because I think of you both as funny. Sure. And then I got there, I was like, oh, this is much heavier than I realized it was. But also, I can see why they would choose comedic actors, because I feel like without being able to play that nuance, it would be like, okay, let's all go slit our wrists together at the end. Like you really need people who get.
But Casey, they said that about his stand-up as well. So I don't know. I don't know.
but like, is that part of the fun?
My wrist that I was.
Someone
I was doing it. I was like, please slip my wrist.
Yeah.
Is that part of the fun for you though, to be able to like flip flop between the two, or is it characters or?
It's all of that, but I get, if I do too much comedy, if I'm just doing comedy all the time, I get thirsty for doing something dramatic, doing something, and vice versa. If I'm just doing the show that I was on, Evil, for 4 seasons, even though there's a lot of comedy in it, is predominantly a drama. And I think it has, and I was just about to say this like earlier, like there's something about being an immigrant kid and being sort of always having to adapt to the environment. And, and specifically for me, for example, I moved to England when I was a baby. I grew up there, and then I moved to America, and that was a complete culture shock and the whole thing. So I think and I naturally bring a kind of mercurialness, a kind of, a multiplicity to everything. So I think that like, that's been my kind of ground, has been like the constant changing of faces, like I don't like to do one thing for too long.
Do you still feel like an outsider as an immigrant? Do you still feel like they're letting me in the club a little bit here? I don't know. It's
interesting. No, that's an interesting question. And I will say that I'm of a generation, because I'm a little bit older now than I don't know what that means. I'm in my late 50s. So I'm of the generation.
Oh, you were 30. I was going to give you I was going to let you off there. I said, God, you went to. It was his 30th birthday the other week. Yeah,
it was. Yeah. Well, that's because your memory is.
Yeah. Unfortunately, yeah. I have been to your birthday. It's I remember.
The first thing that goes. It's the first.
It's awful. Yeah. I didn't realize you were that old. You're really old.
It's not the first thing. It's the second thing that goes.
But
let's not talk about that. But anyway,
back to your dad selling porn in his shop. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So the thing is, I'm of the generation when I feel like the doors were closed in this business, in Hollywood and all that, for people that look like me, for brown actors, for South Asian actors. So it did feel like if you got in, you were part of a club, you were special. There was a kind of like anointment given to you. You know what I mean? It's like you were anointed, you were in, because there were only a handful of us that got in and could really sort of, get work. And so there was a kind of anointedness. And now I think things are different. So yes, so for a long time I felt like I was the outsider, and my many of the friends that I was studying in New York with or whatever, were coming out to LA and getting sitcoms and bang and TV shows and all this stuff. And not everyone, but you know what I mean? Like there were enough people to where I was going like, oh, but I was like, nobody's writing. My first agent, when I came out to LA in '96, said to me, like, what are you doing? Nobody's writing for you. Like, there's no parts.
This is your agent. I'm going to get 10% of nothing with you.
Yeah.
So
just basically like go back to New York and do theater, because Hollywood there's no, they're not writing any parts on television shows for you. So
is that why you started writing?
In a way, yeah. It's why I started writing SAKINA'S Restaurant, because I wanted to get seen and do characters that I was playing on television as cartoons and stereotypes or whatever. And I wanted to write real people with, from my cultural background and all that. So that was where I did that. And that was a gift, to be able to write. That was like, has always been kind of like the fact that I, can write and am able to sort of do that. That was how I wrote my movie that was developed after my one-man show. I co-wrote that, and that was also another talking about a dream. That was also a dream. I remember when the dream was just to get my fucking movie made. You know, that was it. And it's still like I've got a couple of movies I'm trying to get made now. That the dream is just to get them made. You know, so it's always that, right? Yeah. But I think the immigrant thing helped me in life, I think, to just kind of adapt. And sorry, going back to your question, Dave, being an outsider, it's funny now, I feel like the doors have opened a lot more for South Asian actors in Hollywood. So, you know, we're in this sort of like, what I like to call the pre-Mindy Aziz era and the post-Mindy and Aziz era, right?
You've got to thank us. Like,
Don't you think you helped pave the way for that?
Well, I did. That's what I'm saying. It's like we, and I sometimes, you know, my wife gets very irritated about the fact that, you know, the younger generation of South Asian actors sometimes feels like they just arrived, you know, and we were sort of, is it we were running so they could walk or something, or we were crawling so they could run or whatever that is. Whatever
you paved the way.
And so we were sort of paving the way. Like there was a bunch of us in the 80s and 90s, especially in the 90s. And then, you know, now you've got the Mindys and the Aziz and the Hassans and the Kumails and the, you know, all of that going on. And now I feel like an outsider there.
Right.
To my own community. You know what I mean?
This is that Python sketch. When I was a lad.
Exactly. Yeah.
You had shoelaces.
Yeah. You know what I mean? It does feel like that. It feels like, you know, now the fact that like people could write television shows with all brown faces is a thing that has happened in the last, you know, and especially since streaming and Netflix and all that, and the audience has shifted to a global audience. Suddenly the business goes, oh, there's 1 billion Indian people that are willing to pay for Netflix. You know, let's make you know.
Yeah, why cricket is the second most popular sport in the world. I was explaining that to someone in a Nike store, and he was talking about the most popular sports in the world, and he thought it was American football, basketball, and baseball. So number one, obviously, soccer. Soccer. Number two is cricket, and number three is field hockey because they play it in India.
Yeah, there you go.
Fascinating, isn't it?
So, none of them.
Nobody American football and was that old adage? Eddie Izzard has that joke about the World Series where America's won the World Series every year.
Exactly. Really, you're good at that one, aren't you?
An American team seems to win the World Series every year.
So we like our little bubble.
So talking to that, I mean, like, so where's home for you? I mean, I know New York is your home, but where do you feel like, I'm going home?
Well, this is a good way. This is a perfectly great setup, Dave, for me to plug my book, which is called, interestingly enough,
Man's Land.
No, it's not called No Man's Land. It's called No Land's Man.
Oh, I got it wrong.
See the play on that? Oh, my God.
Low Land's Man. That's clever.
No. Oh my God. It's like
that's so clever.
Is this the best promotion you've ever gotten for your book?
Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
Like how many times? Okay, here it is. Say it with me.
Say it one more.
No Land's Man.
It's a play on words, isn't it? It's clever.
It's a play on words.
It's clever. It's very clever.
Your culture invented this play on words business.
The English language.
You're nuts, my lord. You know?
So what you're saying is that everyone's got to read that. So maybe just then come back to the podcast later when they've read it, and then
exactly. Then come back. No, but that title exemplifies, I think, the answer to your question of where is home, right?
Wow.
I think I've always sort of, and I used to talk about this.
It's like going back to that history teacher. Just read the book and you'll find everything.
Just read the book and you'll find it. No, so I often have described myself as a human turducken. Do you know what a turducken is?
A turkey.
Do you know what a turducken is?
A duck inside a turkey.
Duck inside a chicken, inside a turkey.
Wow.
Which sounds like a rough way to go for all of them.
Yeah.
And the idea is, I mean, the joke is that only Americans would eat such a thing. You know what I mean? Like, everywhere else in the world, they'd be like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
I'm sorry for my people.
That's the best advert for veganism I've ever heard.
Right.
right there.
So Turducken. So I feel like I've often felt like a human Turducken, which is that I'm an Indian baby inside an English schoolboy.
Yeah.
Inside an American adult. And sort of that was a long way to go for that.
In a non-sexual kind of way, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, completely sexual. What do you mean? What do you mean now? I don't understand. What do you mean non-sexual?
Do you feel
that was the dirtiest thing I've ever said.
Do you feel like having a foothold in like so many different areas and cultures, though, like helps you relate to more people? Does it make you feel more connected or less connected to people?
I think more. I mean, I think that growing up, I think it's just a reality that the more experience and the more cultural experience and variety of that you have, it is more, I think that...
like you can relate to more things.
Yeah, you relate to more things. You relate to humanity in a whole different way. You relate to like the experience of being human in a whole different way because I'll tell you a story. When I was a little kid, I used to go back to India, and a lot of my Indian friends might be able to identify with this, which is, or your listeners, if you have any Indian listeners, which with Dave on here, I imagine very few.
We don't have many listeners.
They don't like the Brits. They don't like the Brits.
I don't know what we did. I don't know what we did wrong. I don't know.
You tried. You built some railroads. It was really
come on. Yeah.
Railroads.
We let you beat us at cricket every 3 years.
Yeah. Right. We stole all the jewels and we killed 300 million of you, but. Other than that,
wow, details.
We were drunk. We were very drunk. There's a lot of drinking going on back then.
I don't even remember it happening, actually, my lord. Yeah,
it's a blackout.
Yeah. I woke up and then
there you go.
Where did this come from? Oh yeah, the Taj Mahal.
I used to do that. I used to do that in my stand-up. Like the entire British colonial enterprise was one huge drunken blackout, But
I'm
anyway,
so sorry. I'm so sorry.
I'm sorry. We did what? We killed everyone. Why did we do that?
Oh no! Who will we play cricket against now?
Where did all these diamonds come from?
Give them to the Queen. She'll love those. Yeah. She likes those.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll tell you the story. When I was a kid. And it's still a very visceral memory to me that I used to go back. And I grew up in England, it was sort of middle class home, whatever, like lower middle class, I guess you'd say, in Bradford, but doing all right. And I'd go back to India to see my grandparents. And I just remember downstairs in Bombay on the street in front of my grandparents' house was a little girl who was the same age as me. And she was a street urchin. No, that's what you call it in Les Miserables. But she was a homeless, and she was taking care of her. She was 10, or maybe 8, 7 years old, and she had. This is a sad story. She had a little 3-year-old brother she was taking care of, and clearly she was an orphan. And I just remember looking at her and being like, "Oh, she is just like me." She had, because also I was a brown kid and she was, she looked like she could be a relative of mine. And I remember at that very young age recognizing that, that dichotomy or that just, that sense of like, oh, it's just an accident of birth that I'm here and she's there. And that plays out in your whole life, It plays out in what I see in the world today when you look at Gaza or you look at whatever is happening in the world, you know what I mean? Yeah. Where you relate to things in a different level, Like I think there's a way in which – and also just experiencing that cultural sense of like, oh, there are I don't know if your mom ever said, there's starving people. You got to finish your dinner because there's people starving.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is that, like, for me, I'd actually seen those starving people, and you know what I mean? And they weren't just hypotheticals.
Yeah, I think India is the most extreme place I've ever been to of wealth and poverty. You would see like an incredible building where billionaires are living, and at the bottom is like, you're right, it's just street urchins, homeless people.
But like extra sad to see it being children, right? Because like you said, it's like, oh my God, but like they're just kids. It's not like they made some choice that led them there. Like that's just a matter of circumstance.
And yet I would say that I met people who are much happier in India than they are in America.
Right.
Because if you're
because
born
of like
into
priorities, you mean?
Yeah, I think if you're born into that,
and also because Dave couldn't do his stand-up for that.
Nothing stopped me. The gate of India. I went, gather around, everybody. Yeah. I'll give you some rice at the end of this. You'll love this. Just,
Dave.
Dave.
But do you think having that perspective like helps you stay grounded as your career has grown? Because you have done some big things and you seem like super grounded. Like it doesn't seem to have affected you in any like negative egoic ways. Maybe Dave would say otherwise, he knows you better, but in my limited view of you.
I would say, yes, I think that I also got quote unquote successful. And if you want to say like getting on the Daily Show was the point when I think my career took a huge leap in terms of like where I went from like a working sort of job-in actor to somebody who actually people knew and whose name was floating around in offices and on desks and at agencies and it was the first time that I had name recognition, right? So my career jumped. But that didn't happen until I was 40.
That helps.
So because that didn't happen until I was 40, I already had all of that sense of like, this is all kind of bullshit. It's all sort of nonsense. You know what I mean? Like I had a healthy sense of like perspective and cynicism and a sense of like, today and then tomorrow, so I'm glad. I mean, look, I shouldn't say glad or not. Like if it had happened to me when I was 25, maybe it would have shaped me in a different way. But because I didn't get that kind of success and money until I was a middle-aged man, it all has felt just sort of like, yeah, okay. I mean, I don't, and I've weathered ups and downs in my career. It's like when you look at a person's career and you go, oh, they've been so successful. What we never think about or realize is how many of the things that they've done have failed. Because for every two things that are successful, there's 10 things that have failed. And so really, like, you know what I mean? Like it's like. Yeah. Inside of it, that's the reality. I once watched a documentary about John Wayne and how much failure there was in his career. And you think John Wayne, the big movie star, and also racist. But beyond that,
that's his own personal little log line.
Yeah.
I think that brings us towards the end of the podcast.
Wait, I want to ask one last question to that, but to tag on what you just said.
45 minutes already. Wow.
No, yeah.
What would like 9-year-old you think of how your career has panned out, or like where you are now?
Oh, wow. You're going to get me all verklempt now. 9-year-old me, I think, would be would find it unbelievable. Like I don't think 9-year-old me could have dreamt of the things I've gotten to do and the people I've gotten to work with, and actually it's a great question because I don't think we give enough thought to that. often. There's a book I think that I was even part of, which is like Letters to My Childhood Self, like what you would write. But we don't give enough thought to that because sometimes we spend so much time sort of thinking about like all the things we haven't done or all the things that like, all those failures that we've had that we don't think sometimes like the 9-year-old version of me would just be like, oh, are you kidding me? You know what I mean? That's going to happen, like if
we did it.
Yeah, and so that really is a great way, I think, just to find gratitude and a perspective on, how far any of us really, I think, but I'll just speak for myself. I think my 9-year-old self would be really chuffed and sort of wouldn't have dreamt. Because he was just trying to get in the school play, like that's all he was trying to do. So, he just wanted a good part in the school play. So.
I'm happy for 9-year-old you that he got to exceed his dreams.
Yeah, well done, 9-year-old. All right, then, let's ask the questions we have to ask all. I guess. Yeah, here we go. Yeah. No, we say there's no wrong answers, but
I can't tell you her name, and I can't tell you where she is today. But I'll just say it was unbelievable. She opened up my world.
Yeah,
I never.
Well,
we do need to add that question to the list of questions.
Yeah. And here she is today. Say hello to Asif. What do you want to say to Asif? All right. So, if you won the lottery, the big one, what would you do?
Oh God!
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I want to know what you can do with that.
How much money? How much money are we talking about?
Oh God!
The current lottery, the mega one, because I drove past it on the freeway yesterday, is like $740 million.
What are you going to do with all that?
Oh fuck! I mean, that's.
You're just going to fuck. All right. Okay. There's our answer from Aasif Mandvi. He's just going to fuck.
I mean, with that kind of money, you could do a lot.
Yeah, you could.
You could do a lot.
Yeah.
You ask this question to everyone?
Yeah.
Now I'm going to feel like a douchebag because.
Go on.
Listen.
Yeah.
You take care of your family.
Yeah.
You make things that you want to make.
Yeah.
And you try to give some of it to the world and try to make, you know what I mean? Like you just, at that point, like you're in the kind of Bezos sort of, category of like, I'll tell you what I would not do. I would not build a fucking space rocket and go to the moon just for I'll go to space just for a lark.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I wouldn't.
You would maybe give some to that little Indian girl and her 3-year-old brother.
Yeah, you try to do, I hope that you have enough. You try not to get robbed.
I don't think you want to carry it on you.
No. I went to the pub and they took it all.
No, I know.
I can't believe it. Oh, no. I was rich for 5 minutes.
Aasif, have you gained weight? No, I'm just full of cash. You open your shirt.
Oh, no.
No, but, there's so many... if you suddenly have an influx of that kind of money, maybe I'm overthinking this, but people come out of the woodwork, you know what I mean? Like everyone's coming for a bit of that, right?
Yeah.
So you try to protect yourself and not let it all go downstream. Many people who have won the lottery, by the way, there was a whole documentary about this in the UK. Yeah. About people who have won the lottery, 5 years later they're broke.
They're broke.
It curses their lives.
Yeah.
So you try not to. So you try to ward off against that, and then you try to do some good, whatever it is. Whether it's an artist creatively, you try to make things. You try to help. You're going to help your family. Look, Biden pardoned Hunter. Just the family first, right? So you try to give some to your kids and try to. And then you try to do something with it that's going to make the world a better place because there's no way you can spend $740 million. You can't, it's like, I'd be like, give me a little bit at a time. Don't give it all to me at once. Right. Because I don't have enough
pockets.
I don't have enough pockets for that. You know. So anyway, I don't know. That seems like a very sensible answer, but I don't know.
Well, the listeners write in and judge you on that. You'll be great. You will be great. Your old history teacher is going to grade you on that. Yeah.
Here. The next question is it's here's an easy softball. We have a few.
You got a few. Yeah.
Here's a good softball for you.
Yeah.
Because your line of work is like gig work, right? And everything is always changing. Do you have like a go-to snack that's part of you, like gives you a sense of like routine or grounding, or just a thing that is like, just makes you happy? That's your go-to thing. I'm a Jew. I like to know what people eat.
Interesting. I don't have a I mean, I guess like I'm a sugar addict. So, that's my go-to. Like I'll eat anything that's got chocolate on it. Or or
go there.
You know what I mean? Like it's like I don't know.
The court case is coming up soon, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. But in terms of food, are you talking about like what's my comfort food? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, like maybe your comfort. Your comfort food.
So here's the thing. It's interesting. Comfort food, Indian food is probably my comfort food, right?
Mm-hmm.
But also, and I don't know why, Middle Eastern food is my comfort food. So those two food groups, like I can eat kebab and hummus and falafels all day long. So when I'm having a bad day, or if it's been a rough week or something, sometimes my wife will say, like, you want to order from the Lebanese place down the street? I'm like, let's do that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That.
So it's like,
yeah.
But then Indian food also, because it's the food that my mom, I think it's always the food that your mom made when you were a kid. Like for Dave, it's gruel.
Well, luckily at school, my friends were Indian, so we'd go around there and have their
right? Yeah,
so we'd have their dinner. So it's a night of gruel and go and have a curry.
Yeah.
Spot the difference. All right.
So I think that's probably what it is.
Right.
And then just sugar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used to grab the Hershey's chocolate almond bars out of my grandmother's spare freezer.
There you go. See?
Wow.
There you go.
All right.
I mean,
all right.
That's,
Okay, very important question coming this way. Right. What's your favorite animal and why? Animals,
The look on your face is the best part of this question. I'm sorry the listeners can't enjoy that part.
He's got to get his book of animals out now, isn't he?
What is my favorite animal?
Yeah.
I honestly can say I've never really been asked this question before, and I never thought about it, but I'm going to go.
Got an exclusive here on this podcast.
Yeah, it's an exclusive.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go with elephant.
Oh,
elephants are brilliant.
Oh, okay. Brilliant. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the part of the reason is that I did this documentary for National Geographic where I went to Africa, and we did this whole thing on elephants, and you just realize how amazing elephants are.
Yeah.
They're like so majestic in their natural habitat, right?
But not only majestic, how incredibly smart they are, how much they value family, and how much they... the elephants communicate across vast distances by using sound waves in the ground. They hit the ground.
No.
And if a group of elephants, a family of elephants has a baby, has a cub, or I don't know what you call it, but other elephants will visit the baby from miles around, like 5-7 miles away. Other families will come to visit the newborn.
Wow.
And the way they tell them is by sending shock waves through the ground, like whales communicate through sonar. Yeah. Elephants are like land whales. They communicate through sound waves in the ground.
That's so cool.
And they let other families know there's a baby, and they will all come and visit. And they bury their dead. They mourn. They mourn when they're incredible creatures, and we're killing them. you know.
Oh yeah, I know.
Not
me,
so,
but yeah.
Not well.
What is the name of that documentary?
It's called The Years of Living Dangerously, and it was on Nat Geo. I don't know if it's still there, but it was on there, and it's all about climate change. And it's different celebrities tackling different aspects of climate change. So I went to Africa, and we were talking about how climate change is affecting the land mammals on the plains of Africa. But elephants are remarkable creatures.
Yeah, they are.
Okay, last question.
So that's my favorite.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good one. I like that one.
Last question, Aasif. If we really knew you, what would we know about you?
Oh, God. I can't say this. I can't say this. This
you can say it.
Well, now you've got to say it.
My wife's going to divorce me.
Well, we don't want that to happen.
Yeah,
I mean, I haven't met your wife, but I'm sure she's lovely.
She's not gonna listen to this anyway.
No,
so
yeah. We won't tell her. We won't tell her you're on. Yeah. She listens to every other episode, but not this one. Yeah.
I did actually tell her I said I'm doing this podcast with Dave, and she's like, Dave who? And I was like, David and Hannah. She's like, oh, I love Hannah. I said, Dave. She's like, wait, who's Dave? I said, Dave and Hannah, his wife. She's like, I love Hannah.
Yeah.
Wait, she has a husband?
Yeah.
But
Hannah is delightful for anyone listening.
This podcast is nearly over, isn't it? It's nearly done, right? We're nearly there.
Yeah, we just have one more answer.
She actually thought, she met you guys together once, and she just thought you were Hannah's ailing father.
That's cruel. Very cruel.
Anyway. What was the question, sir?
If we really knew you, what would we know about you?
That's it, guys.
No, let him go there. He's thinking.
What would you know about me? That oh my God, this is a hard question. Guys, this is not because in order for me to know I have to imagine how other people know me. I'll admit that I can be a bit of a dick sometimes.
We know, though. Tell us something we don't know.
No. That's I think that, I think I can. As grounded and all that as I am, I think that I have a little bit of an ego that sometimes will push its way to the forefront, and people are like, "Oh, what the fuck," So I guess maybe that's it.
You are human, after all.
Wow.
Yeah, I think.
Thank you for being so honest with that answer.
And I'm a terrible cook.
Really?
Oh, terrible cook! Your mom didn't teach you all her secret recipes?
No, I have a wife who cooks very, very well, but I can't make shit. Yeah. I can't make shit. So, maybe the thing is, I have a 4-year-old son, and I basically can't make him dinner, and I'd be like, omelets. We're having
omelets or toast?
Yeah.
Omelets or toast. How about almond toast? On toast. You want that? Not for dinner.
How about just bread? Just bread on its own.
Yeah. My wife will be making linguine bolognese, whatever. And I'm like, he had eggs. I scrambled some eggs and I put some toast under it. So that was good. So yeah.
So this is what we've learned. Aasif Mandvi, a dick who can't cook. Brilliant. That sums it all up, isn't it, really?
Perfect. Yeah.
That's probably the title of this podcast.
That's the next book.
There you go. That's your sequel, The Dick Who Can't Cook. All right, Aasif, this has been
it's catchy.
Yeah.
This has been so great. Thank you for sharing time with us and for sharing all your stories.
Thank you, Aasif. This has been emotional. Yeah, appreciate it.
So
I'm glad things are going so well for you.
Yeah, wow.
It was lovely talking to you and meeting you, Casey. Good luck.
Dave, it's been real.
I hope you feel better.
Yeah, thanks.
Oh, wait, that's just how you look.
All right, everybody listening, I hope you've had as much fun as we've just had. And thanks for sticking around.
Bye.
Bye.
Quick shout out to Mike Nicholas for being our tech savior, and Carmen Sclafani, also known as Wiser Time. Thanks for our music. And thank you all for listening.